Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Night of Wrestling. Today, I have Paul returning as my co-host,
Hello, hello.
and Dylan unfortunately regrets to inform me that he will not be on this episode due to the fact that he's currently traveling right now to Port Colborne here in Canada, or more like Ontario, Canada, I should say, for those of you who are watching from another country or whatever. So, the point of this video the point of this video is to make our Backlash predictions, which the event is taking place this Sunday on the WWE Network and also on pay-per-view. Um, but who orders it on pay-per-view nowadays?
I
Um,
certainly don't.
no, not wasting 60,
$11.99 on the network.
$70.
I'm just saying.
Exactly. Um, so yeah, we'll get started with the way that Dylan has sent me his predictions, and we'll start with the SmackDown Live Women's Championship match between the current champion Carmella defending it against the Queen Charlotte Flair. Um, so this is an interesting one for sure because it's just a rematch for Charlotte after getting cashed in on basically, and Paul, I'll start with your thoughts on this, actually.
Oh boy. Okay. So Carmella is one of those superstars that is an opportunist. Obviously, takes full advantage of the Money in the Bank contract. Becomes the first woman ever to cash in a Money in the Bank contract and win the title. For Charlotte, this is going to be more about pride because obviously she had her title stolen from her.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, in terms of a prediction, I can't see any result other than Carmella retaining. I know Charlotte was at one point the queen of pay-per-views, and I'm not sure if she's still running with that. But Carmella will keep the title in some fashion or another.
Fair enough. I'm gonna agree with you, and also Dylan agrees that Carmella retains the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. We'll go right into the Raw Women's Championship match. We have Alexa Bliss going up against Nia Jax. So Alexa being former Raw Women's Champion, Nia being the current, and Dylan claims that Nia Jax is going to retain the Raw Women's Championship. And as much as I like to see Alexa Bliss win it back, I just don't think that's going to be the case, unfortunately. So, I'm going to have to agree with Dylan. Nia Jax is going to retain.
Allow me to say that I am loving this storyline. Alexa Bliss, pretty much ever since arriving on the main roster, has been nothing short of this mean girl, bully type character, just picking on others. Maybe because it's a Napoleon complex, because she's so short. I don't know. But I'm loving this. And then she pushes Nia Jax's buttons just one too many times. Nia Jax gets hers at WrestleMania. And then all of a sudden you see Alexa Bliss doing these promos about how Nia Jax is the real bully and how she's the victim. I'm loving the storyline, but Little Miss Bliss is going to be staring up at those lights in one way or another. Nia Jax retains the Raw Women's title.
Okay. So all three of us again are agreeing with this for sure. Moving right along to the Intercontinental Championship match between The Miz going up against Seth Rollins, the current Intercontinental Champion, obviously being Seth Rollins right now. And see, this can go one of two ways, because depending on where this is in the card, let's say, the United States Championship match comes first. You have Jinder Mahal from Raw going against Jeff Hardy from Randy Orton.
Randy Orton
versus Jeff Hardy. Okay, never mind then.
Card right. You're looking right at it, the same as I am. Get it right, man.
I apologize, actually. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna jump right in, actually. Miz is an 8-time Intercontinental Champion. We talked all about this last week heading into Greatest Royal Rumble, how Miz is on the cusp of history, how Seth Rollins is the best thing on Raw right now. I am a Seth Rollins mark until the day I die. That is no secret. By the way, the end of that ladder match, loved it. Loved it. But I am going to have to say that Seth Rollins retains the title.
Fair enough. So yeah, I mean, with any real, wrestling type thing, there is going to be a few botches.
I will be right back.
Okay. So moving right along though, with that match being said, Seth Rollins, The Miz. Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed how the ladder match ended at the Greatest Royal Rumble event a week ago. Actually, it would have been a week today that it happened. So, Monday Night Rollins is definitely going to retain the title. I don't see SmackDown having both mid-card titles, especially with the way that I, messed up and thought that it was Jeff versus Jinder. But, yeah, there's no way that the U.S. title is coming to Raw. So, therefore, the IC title staying on Raw, Seth Rollins retains, and Miz goes back to SmackDown on Tuesday night, unhappy. And Dylan basically says the same thing. Seth Rollins is going to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Moving right along, though, in a bit. The pre-show match that has just recently been added will be one interesting women's match, that's for sure. It's going to be a Raw women's match because it's going to be Bayley versus Ruby Riott. And so that one's a no-brainer for me. I am really becoming a fan of Ruby Riott. Not really the Riott Squad in general, but of course Ruby Riott. And I really think that big things are coming her way, and she's going up against a former Raw Women's Champion. So this could really, push Ruby Riott in the right direction for sure. If she comes out with a win, which I predict will happen against Bayley. So looking at my messages from Dylan, since I just messaged him a few minutes ago, he made his prediction for that match, with it, of course, being Ruby Riott as well. So him and I are on the same page there. And I know we have a viewer right now, which I assume would be my good old buddy from St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada here, Connor Haywood. His prediction, of course, no-brainer. He loves Ruby Riott, so that's who he'd be going for. And on the other end of the spectrum, Port Colborne, Ontario, Sean, my cousin, he's been on an episode or two. He would predict Bayley for this match, probably because he is a Bayley fan. But yeah, so what is going to happen is that I feel Dylan and I can agree on this, which we do. Ruby Riott winning. So once Paul gets back, we'll get his prediction on that matchup. But let's talk about something else real quick. The Greatest Royal Rumble event. Titus O'Neil stole the show. Titus World Slide. Man, that's not going to get old, that's for sure. And this past Monday, he, went with, getting into the ring. He went with trying to get in the ring to interrupt the Baron Corbin match with No Way Jose, and stepped on the middle rope and then did a back bump and, sold it quite well. That was quite funny. So he's got this whole thing going on, and Connor loves the fact that I mentioned his prediction with Ruby Riott. So there you go, Connor. There's your shout out on Night of Wrestling. And Paul says for me to keep going, and he'll cover any matches that he's missed. So, moving right along here, back to messages from Dylan to look at the next match we're going to talk about, and that being the tag team match between Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley taking on the Team Cammy, or, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Yeah, I don't see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn coming out on top on this one. Obviously, for one, it being Braun Strowman that they're up against, but also Bobby Lashley. And, Bobby Lashley just returned to the WWE within the past month and a half, roughly. So, actually, it hasn't quite been that long. It's roughly been almost a month-ish. But yeah, so I'm going to agree with Dylan because he says the same thing here, that Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley are coming out on top with the win. And, Braun Strowman just won the greatest 50-man Royal Rumble match and is apparently now the greatest Royal Rumble champion or whatever, that they gave him a title belt and along with the trophy. But, you can't stop Braun Strowman's momentum after winning such a match. So, yeah, there you have it. The next match I want to talk about, though, is quite some match. And it's between Roman Reigns from Raw going up against somebody from SmackDown by the name of Samoa Joe. And he's not just a somebody. He has made his name known in the WWE. I apologize for that background car going by, revving their engine as they go, because, they're an asshole doing it. And if you didn't hear that, well, then that's a good thing. I know my mic picks up pretty good sound, so you probably did hear it, but that's besides the point. Back to the prediction with the match at hand. Dylan says Roman Reigns. I kind of want to disagree with him. And I feel like I'm going to go and disagree with him only because, SmackDown has to come out with a win somewhere, and this might just be the match where Samoa Joe will beat Roman Reigns, even though Roman Reigns has lost quite a few of his matches recently, actually, with most recent, unfortunately, he should have won, actually, the cage match between him and Brock Lesnar last week at Saudi Arabia's Greatest Royal Rumble event, but what had happened was, Roman Reigns speared Brock Lesnar through the side of the cage. Roman Reigns' feet actually touched first because he rolled off, while Brock Lesnar's feet were still technically on that part of the cage link thing. So Brock Lesnar's feet never really touched the actual main floor. Roman Reigns should have technically won that match. However, they gave Brock Lesnar the title being retained. And there's, word from Kurt Angle on his Twitter that, the referee, made, I guess, the right decision, just, due to, I guess, health and safety and whatnot. But clearly looking back at it, Kurt Angle says that, Roman Reigns should have probably won the match due to his feet touching first, but, stuff like that happened. So, yeah, my prediction, Samoa Joe. Dylan's prediction, Roman Reigns. Moving on, here's some match with a little bit of build happening. Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. Yeah, see, I didn't know what they were going to do with Big Cass when he returned from his injury. And right now it seems like they got this whole thing going on with Daniel Bryan, Big Cass. Um, Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles kind of thing. Uh, it's, I don't know. It's not one of those feuds that I'm quite honestly paying attention to. But don't get me wrong. I like Daniel Bryan, and I like the chances he has in this match. Big Cass can't really do too much. And Daniel Bryan has always, literally been the ultimate underdog in cases like this.
And I'm back. Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
You finish your train of thought, and I'll jump right in with whatever I've missed.
Okay, sounds like a plan. So, Dylan in this prediction for this match is saying Daniel Bryan. I'm going to have to agree with him. Him beating Big Cass seems quite likely. So the two matches that you have missed, Paul, were actually maybe three matches. Were the pre-show match between Bayley and Ruby Riott.
Bayley and Ruby Riott, okay.
There's Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe.
Okay.
And then there was the tag match with Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley going up against Kevin and Sami.
Okay. So you know what? Since we're already here, I'm going to start with Daniel Bryan and Big Cass.
Fair enough.
The thing with this Daniel Bryan and Big Cass match, it's yet another David and Goliath story, which has been Daniel Bryan's career, or at least it had been a couple of months in the couple of years leading up to his temporary retirement. And I'm not a big fan of that, simply because I know that there are other stories to tell.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gone. What happened to you?
I just turned my camera off.
Oh, okay. So it's just yet another David and Goliath story. Not a big fan of that. Big Cass, I don't know why, but I'm feeling like this may be the start of something big for Big Cass. So I'm going to actually disagree with the both of you. Even though it is logical for Daniel Bryan to win, I'm going with Big Cass.
Okay.
So now going to the Ruby Riott and Bayley? Yes. Why is this match even happening? I don't understand. It is a pre-show match, so I know it doesn't mean anything to begin with. But it doesn't make sense for this match to even happen. Maybe it's just filling time for the sake of filling time. I don't know. Ruby Riott has my call to win the match.
Okay, so basically agreeing with Dylan and
I. Then there was Reigns and Joe.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm going to do the tag match first.
Okay.
Tag match first. First off, I called Braun Strowman winning. I'm just going to throw that out there. I called it, and I'm happy about it. Braun and Bobby, it seems as though they've had a lot of tension as of late. And when you have two forces that volatile, they're going to do some damage to their opponents, but they're also going to end up doing damage to each other. I think there's going to be a big, massive breakdown of communication that causes Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to get the victory.
Ooh, okay. So you're going with the other side of things.
All right, and then there's Reigns and Joe.
Yep.
Plain and simply, I'm not sure how they're going to go with this, because they could see it as Roman's on a decline and therefore Samoa Joe wins. Or they might have Roman try to save a little face and therefore Roman wins. I don't know. I honestly don't know where they're going to go with this. For the sake of making a prediction, I will say Roman.
Okay. So you and Dylan agree, and however...
For the sake of making a prediction,
yeah,
it's too close for me to call personally, but I am going to say Roman.
Okay.
Now, I think we're all caught up, no?
Yep, we're pretty much
all caught up.
Yep. So, being caught up with things now, we'll move right along. the United States Championship match. We have the current champion Jeff Hardy going up against Randy Orton, and this seems to be quite a match for sure. What do you think about it?
I always think back to their rivalry that they've had 10 years ago now. I always think back to that match at Royal Rumble, which is always a good match whenever I've watched it. Jeff Hardy, we know what he can do. Randy Orton, we know what he can do. It's a very close match to call just because of the amount of experience. But when in doubt, stick with the champion. That's my philosophy. When in doubt, stick with the champion. Therefore, I'm going with Jeff Hardy.
Fair enough. Dylan goes with Jeff Hardy, and I'm going to say the same. He's need a good single run, and he needs, to have this championship run for a little bit. So let him run with it for quite some time, and then we'll see how far it gets. But we have really only one more match to talk about, and that is the WWE Championship match, which happens to be now a no disqualification match. And this is where I'm going to agree with Dylan, but this match, this whole feud has been going on since, the build up to WrestleMania. And Shinsuke now being heel, this being a no disqualification match, a low blow is going to happen. For some reason, Shinsuke has this thing with low blowing AJ Styles. I don't know.
I'm going to say this right now for the record. Their match last week at Greatest Royal Rumble was far better than their WrestleMania match. And that proves to me that face versus face matches, even dream matches, do not work in WWE. Because the crowd is too split or the crowd is too tired. There's no telling which way it's going to go in terms of fan reaction, and that just throws off the entire match.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an example. This is kind of somewhat peeling back the curtain a little bit, but this is common knowledge thanks to what culture? The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. They had figured out their entire match expecting the crowd to go with Rock. Then they get into the ring, and the crowd starts going for Hulk Hogan. They needed to redo the entire match on the fly. It was still an excellent match, but it just kind of proves my point that crowd reaction is everything. You need to be able to read the crowd. As much as I love AJ and as much as I love Shinsuke, those two as faces just didn't work at WrestleMania. Which is why I'm glad the heel turn has happened. It's why I'm glad this match is happening. Which I'm glad that this is continuing in the course of a rivalry. This will probably be the last chapter. And for that, seeing that this is probably the last chapter, I am going to say AJ Styles. As much as I was pulling for Shinsuke last week, if this is going to be the last page, then let AJ Styles come out on top.
See, this is where Dylan and I are going to disagree with you. We're both going with Shinsuke Nakamura becoming the new WWE champion. However, thinking at it for a moment, Shinsuke has put some time in now with being on the main roster. He's been, two-time former NXT champion?
Shinsuke, yeah.
Yeah. So why not give him this run, no matter how long or short it is, with the WWE Championship?
Now, I could be wrong, and I'm not going to take the time on looking it up. We'll let whoever's watching right now, if there's anyone watching. Unless I'm wrong, then if Shinsuke were to win, then he would be the first ever Japanese WWE champion. I think that's right. No, I'm wrong. Sort of. Antonio Inoki did have a short reign with the title, but it was not recognized by WWE in 1979. So it
Okay.
was not recognized for whatever reason. I'm going to look it up right now.
Okay. Fair enough. And being that I feel like Connor Haywood's still watching, I would feel like he wouldn't even know who that guy is. So
Yeah, Antonio Inoki's reign was not recognized by WWE.
yeah. Yeah. So you got to take a few risks. Like I said, my prediction with the Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe match, mine obviously going with Samoa Joe. You got to take a few risks and predictions. Um, so yeah, I'm risking that, and I feel Shinsuke and AJ. That prediction isn't really a risk, but I don't know. I just in my gut feel Shinsuke is going to win, so I'm going to go with my gut feeling rather than my brain this time.
Okay, so you know what? We've covered everything about Backlash, but
Yes.
MWO tomorrow at the Community Living Center in Port Colborne. We know of 2 matches that have been announced. We know, and you know what? I'm not even going to bother messaging Dylan and asking him for his prediction, but let's go with it. 2 people making their MWO debut. Let's start with Jeremy Elliott versus Matthew Mountie.
Yeah, so this seems to be quite a match to look at, especially on paper. You know, Matthew Mountie, formerly known as Dylan Koros. Let's see. He's trained apparently with Jeremy Elliott, so there's no surprise there. They kind of know each other a little bit, and Jeremy Elliott's been in the business a little bit longer than Dylan has. Well, I'd say probably a bit more than
A little bit longer. He's got quite a few years on him.
Yeah, that's why I was just about to correct myself. More than a little bit, but so I like how this matchup has been added. The 2 in the match are both really great in the ring. This is a tough one for me, to be honest. I mean, of course, Mountie being my friend, and Jeremy Elliott, he's got things going on where he is running the United One Family Martial Arts in Niagara Falls. So he's got that background of martial arts. I'm going to say Jeremy Elliott. I apologize to Dylan because, you're a good friend of mine, but still, and this one was just a tough one for me.
Let me say, for the record, that since I do referee for MWO,
yes,
anything I say here is completely speculatory, and if it ends up being a part of the actual results, that's not related whatsoever. It is purely speculation. I'm just saying it now. It's going to come down to one thing. Can Matthew Mountie stay away from the high-powered submissions of Jeremy Elliott? Jeremy Elliott is a martial arts expert. He wouldn't be where he is today if it wasn't for that. So, if Matthew Mountie can stay out of some of the more dangerous submissions in his arsenal, like an arm bar or a leg lock or something like that, something that's going to take away a lot of his offense, if Matthew Mountie can stay away from that, he'll have a shot. However, you got to go with the experience factor. You got to go with Jeremy Elliott. And
all right.
Let's go to what has been announced as the main event. You yourself said this was an interesting match. Those were your exact words.
Yeah, actually.
Beautiful Mia taking on the high-risk hero, Rip Impact.
Yeah, so Bia's multiple time women's champions for many promotions. High Risk Hero Rip Impact. He is the trainer down at Hamilton Pro Wrestling Academy, if I'm not mistaken. Or
Yep.
okay, so like I said, yeah, this is quite an interesting matchup. Only because of the two talent that are going to be in the ring. I don't know. Bia is kind of on a roll lately, so let's just get into that right now with MWO. She and her husband, Reckless Ryan Swift, had a match against the meme team at the last event where Bia and Ryan Swift came out on top in that match, if I'm remembering correctly. And then you got Rip Impact. He is making his MWO debut, I believe. Or
Rip
no?
Impact?
Yeah.
No, I believe
He's already had a match.
I'm trying to figure out just when that match with Nolan King was.
It could have been before MWO was even like considered a name.
Like,
could have been just Outdoor Styles Presents. But yeah, that was a good match either way. So but yeah, so I don't know. This is going to be a little bit of another tough one for me here.
Personally, I think this one's too close to call.
Yeah.
Bia is probably going into this with the most momentum. That much is certain. Rip hasn't really been seen in MWO. I'm not sure when that match was. I'm pretty sure it was before MWO existed.
Yeah.
But you know that he has a lot of high octane offense. It's going to come down to who dictates the pace.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go with a risk here and say the high risk hero, no pun intended.
Yeah, you think he's going to be able to beat Bia?
I think so. I really think so. So not only those two matches were announced, by the way. Looking at the actual event page now, in a second, once I get to it here, there have been more matches announced. But you're just probably looking at the Millennials Wrestling Organization group.
I'm looking at an event page as well. Maybe
are you?
Something.
Okay, I don't know then. Hold on. Recent posts. I'm looking at. There's one here that has Jeff Black and Lenny Lilac versus the meme team, Eric Carney and Jesse Bieber. There's also Ryan Swift and Patsy Blue, Nolan Pink and Scotty O'Shea, Matt Goff and Andrew Davis.
Looking at a completely different event page then. That's
Maybe.
The problem. There are multiple event pages.
That's weird.
I'm looking at the event page that was posted by the MWO group.
Yeah, event for Millennials Wrestling Organization. Are you looking at like the recent posts area?
Recent posts. No, I'm not.
Okay, because I know.
I'm seeing what you're seeing.
So, I don't know. Outdoor Styles presents Revenge of the Fifth.
I'm gonna try. You know what? You go into those, and I'm just gonna try to find it.
Okay. Because I know the most recent post was yesterday at 11:15 a.m. from the general manager, Joey Paradise, saying, "We will be having a Star Wars themed contest for the fans best dressed in your favorite Star Wars outfits and lightsabers. First prize will be 2 tickets to the June MWO show. Second place will be a $25 gift card to Blue Star here in Welland," which is not bad, actually.
Well, I'm looking at the same thing you're looking at. It's just I can't see these posts for some reason.
That's weird, unless they got taken down, because on my phone it shows, Michael Colin has been posting, apparently from, this just in from general manager Mr. Joey Paradise, so.
Okay, well, I'll look into that later.
Okay,
so I'll let you just kind of take it from here and go through these matches.
All right, fair enough. And, by the way, the third prize for that Star Wars contest thing is, pizza and wings combo from Lino's Pizza. So this just in from the general manager's office as of April 21st. Jeff Black and Lenny Lilac versus the meme team of Eric Carney and Jesse Bieber. Now, looking at this, the meme team lost their recent match with, like I said, Bia and Ryan Swift. So they're kind of, looking for some redemption, and they need a win in their back pocket. And going up against a team like Lenny Lilac and Jeff Black, knowing those two, for sure, they're Lenny Lilac. He's a big guy, so don't underestimate him. Jeff Black, also, remembering his work that he's done in the ring. They could be the, I wouldn't say the wild cards in this scenario, but for sure, definitely don't sleep on them, and don't count them out. Uh, you know what? Just for the sake of prediction, I'm gonna say Eric Carney and Jesse Bieber.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. Meme team.
Yeah. All right. This next match is, from what I said, damn, matches are getting good for this show. So this one including Ryan Swift versus Patsy Blue. I don't see Ryan Swift's momentum stopping anytime soon. And basically, if you want to think about it, he's going up against his sister-in-law. If you really want to think about it, because
Yeah, if you want to see it that way.
yeah, so kind of a family affair in a way, like between these two.
I'm not sure how to look at this match.
Yeah,
I don't think that Ryan Swift's momentum can really be stopped. But at the same time, I'm not sure exactly how many tricks Patsy Blue has up her sleeve.
exactly.
I'm going to go in another direction. I'm going to say Patsy Blue. And I don't know why. I just got this feeling that she'll be able to pull it off.
Interesting. I'm gonna go with Ryan Swift, and we'll see what happens at the show tomorrow.
Yep, and like I said, everything is purely speculatory.
Yeah.
If I ref that match and Patsy Blue comes out with a victory, that's just the way it happens.
Fair enough.
Now I think you mentioned what I think is going to be the match of the night: Nolan Pink taking on Hacker Scotty O'Shea.
Yeah, for some reason, I feel like this is the fans' choice match, as we usually see happen, especially from the end of Michael Cole. And we got Nolan Pink, the Phoenix, going up against Hacker Scotty O'Shea, like you just said, Paul. Oh, and of course, Regan. Now it is a fan favorite match. No surprise there. So I am really liking the offensive moves from Nolan Pink. And you've got Hacker Scotty O'Shea, who has his creative offensive style of his own. The crowd's probably going to be like really pumped up and into this match, and it's going to be, like you said, quite possibly match of the night. Looking at all the other matches I've talked about within predictions and the way it's been set up.
I'm going to say it right now. As great as this match is going to be, and as much success as Nolan Pink has had recently, going back to December when he had a great match against perhaps the best in Ontario Indie today, Josh Alexander, you got to wonder just how those battles have prepared him, Nolan, for this match against Scotty O'Shea. And I think he'll be able to use some of the lessons he's learned in that match to actually come off with the victory. So I love Scotty O'Shea to death. Got to go with Nolan Pink on this one.
Yeah, no doubt I agree with you on that. Scotty O'Shea is more experienced in the fact that he's been in the business longer, but
he's been a part of wrestling since he was 13 years old, I believe. I believe that's the age where he first started training. 13.
Well, there you go.
Think about it. He's been in this business for I think 15 years now. That's a long time, and he's learned a lot of things since then.
Yeah, I think this will be a fast-paced match, and I'm going to agree. Nolan Pink, as much as I love Scotty O'Shea and whatnot, like you said, I'm going to agree with you. Nolan Pink has this one.
Dylan Coro, send your predictions. I'm just kidding because you're not online on Facebook right now. I don't think.
Yeah, no, he's not. Next match we're going to talk about. What's up?
You're part of this show. I don't care. Put him on speaker.
Put him on speaker. Call him up. Might be too windy for him as he's biking to Port Colborne, but we'll see.
There is one more match to discuss.
Yes. That would be...
And this is something else.
The King of Tinder, Matt Goff, versus Andrew Davis. Now, not going to lie, I have no idea who Andrew Davis is, I believe.
Andrew Davis has been around for quite some time. He's been in several promotions, most recently PWA. I believe he is in Crossbody Pro Wrestling. He's been around. He's been around a very long time. Neo Spirit, once upon a time. He's got a wealth of experience.
Fair enough.
So,
however, I'm not quite around to get to some of these wrestling events, but that's okay.
Fine. Andrew Davis definitely has what it takes to compete with some of the higher level talents in Ontario indie wrestling.
Yeah.
For that reason, Matt, he's had a very odd string of bad luck. He's currently on tour with CWF, the CWF Spring Tour, which I believe is wrapping up today, which means he will be back in time for tomorrow. So between the experience difference and any possible fatigue that Matt may have from competing on this 2-week tour, I have to say Andrew Davis easily gets the win in my book.
Yeah, and of course, looking at Matt Goff's most recent loss was to Quan Chang, the Asian Nightmare, CWF Hall of Famer. Matt looking for some redemption from that, and of course,
well, you know what, Matt, also, you gotta wonder, because they're not on this show officially, but I know that he has a bit of a bone to pick with Bruiser Battersby and Chris Lambert. He came out of nowhere and quite literally stole the Northern Lights title, causing that ladder match in 43 a couple weeks ago to be a no contest. You gotta wonder if they'll be somewhere in the building looking to ambush Matt Goff as well.
Oh, for sure. So, we'll see what happens there.
So, I think that's everything. MWO, Revenge of the 5th.
My prediction, real quick, sorry.
I'm
Andrew
sorry.
Davis. Andrew Davis, I'm going to agree with you because I just don't think Matt Goff has it in him to beat him.
So here we go. Outdoor Styles presents MWO Pro Wrestling, Revenge of the 5th, 100 McRae Avenue in Port Colborne, Ontario. Tickets are only $15. 15% of those proceeds are going to the Community Living Children's Program. Revenge of the 5th, Star Wars costume contest, 3 awesome prizes. You do not want to miss this show. It is going to be nothing short of amazing.
That is right. And until next time, this has been Night of Wrestling. Thank you, Paul, for being on my this episode, I should say, my YouTube series, Night of Wrestling. The next time we're around, the next event happens to be NXT TakeOver Chicago, which means, something's going to go down there. And I'm trying to think, the one event after that would be, I don't know. It's not letting me go to the next event after NXT TakeOver Chicago, so
it would probably be it would probably be sometime around TakeOver Brooklyn, maybe, or maybe depending on when it is, not when it is, depending on if we're available to. Maybe we'll host a special edition for Resolution. Maybe CWF. Maybe.
Quite possibly.
No, I'm just kidding. I am part of CWF, and they are awesome. I'm not gonna try to shamelessly plug them here. We'll figure that out at a later time. But for sure, NXT Takeover Chicago. I am gonna try. I'm gonna wear you down. We're gonna cover Resolution. I'm gonna wear you down for that one.
Fair enough, to be honest. I'm just saying because usually I don't cover takeover events, to be quite honest. I haven't, but
so
there's a good idea of us starting it, to be quite honest. We can start with NXT
see.
Takeover Chicago.
What's after Backlash? After Backlash is Extreme Rules.
Thank you.
That's June. Oh, wait a second. What? Extreme Rules 2017. What am I looking at? What happened?
I'm trying to scroll down real quick.
I see what I did wrong. Hold on. Let me fix this. NXT TakeOver Chicago. Oh yeah, there's nothing after that, eh? Weird.
Yeah, so
we'll figure it out.
I'm figuring it out actually right now. So just give me one quick second as I'm scrolling down, and I will have it. 2018. So we've already had WrestleMania 34, the Greatest Royal Rumble. So Backlash, and then in Rosemont, Illinois, which would make sense since it's going to be NXT TakeOver Chicago, that they're in Illinois, so it's going to be Money in the Bank June 17th.
Okay. So we'll see you probably in June-ish.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. I would love to have you back on again to discuss our predictions.
Okay, let's have some fun with this.
All right. Until then, this has been Night of Wrestling.